Hey everybody, and welcome back to BK's Bullets. Today we're going to talk about The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Episode 3. Hey everybody, and welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I am your host, Brent, and today we're going to talk about The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Episode 3. Just came out today. So before we get into review, let me ask you to do one thing. Please subscribe. Helps me out, lets you know when I drop new videos. If you want that notification, hit that bell. Helps the channel grow, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. So, Episode 3, Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think it's more like the second episode of last week. We're still building. This is a long 6-hour movie or story or whatever you want to call it, and it really, I think they made a mistake in that they didn't give each episode a little bit of an arc, because I still don't know where we're going. I still don't really know what the real conflict is. The first episode, we had the conflict of, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Sam and Bucky trying to live their lives and what their lives were like now. The second episode, we encountered the Flag Smashers, who were mentioned in the first episode. We discovered they are super soldiers, and at the same time, there's a new Captain America. This episode, we're hunting the Flag Smashers because they're super soldiers, not questioning what they're doing or anything like that. We established last episode they're trying to help people, and this episode we see more of them blowing stuff up. They kill a bunch of these GRC guards and stuff, so now they're actually terrorists. But Sam and Bucky don't really know why they're going after them other than they're super soldiers and they don't want them to be. How are you going to make them not super soldiers other than killing them? We introduced Isaiah Bradley, who was the black Captain America, the black super soldier in this Marvel universe, and was kind of written off and forgotten about. We're talking to Zemo in this episode. We break Zemo out of prison. And what does Zemo want? Well, he wants to destroy super soldiers as well, so he's helping us, and we're actively participating in his scheme. But why is so we're just hunting down the super soldier serum right now? We found the guy, we found Sharon Carter, and then we leave her, and then we're just moving forward. So what is the main thrust here? And at the end of the episode, Bucky's still pissed about the new Captain America, and says, I'm going to steal that shield before Sam is able to destroy it, because Sam's regretting destroying it. There was nothing in this episode for them to really decide that they want to destroy Cap or that shield. He didn't do anything. We saw something. We saw Cap kind of just be an asshole, but everybody can be an asshole. You can have a bad day. I'm not advocating for this new Captain America. I'm still waiting and seeing. But he seems like a normal person. He's not put up on a pedestal the way that Zemo was talking about in the airplane. But I'm still a little confused about what this show is about. I really do think the larger theme will be Falcon becoming Captain America, things like that. But I don't know how the Super Soldier Serum and the Flag Smashers and Zemo and all this other stuff fit into the picture, because it feels like we're losing sight of that bigger theme in favor of hunting down the Super Soldier Serum, even though, the people that have the serum or took it are trying to do good things in the world. It's shouldn't we just sit down and have a conversation with them and figure out how to reverse them from being the serum? I don't know. So it feels a little weird to me. Whereas, WandaVision was a mystery, and it feels like this Marvel series needs to be a little bit more forward on plot. It needs to push it further and faster. If we're only going to get 6 episodes of these longer seasons, or longer shows in terms of 45 minutes to an hour versus WandaVision's 30 minutes, then I feel like they need to establish what the plot is of the show first and push it forward that way instead of taking so long to get there. So I'm a little down on this episode. I did have a little yip at the end when the girl from Wakanda shows up, one of the Dora Milaje. She's one of the royal guard for the Black Panther, for the King, T'Challa. And this was the same actress. I don't know her name. But I'm glad she got a part here. Hopefully next episode she gets a little bit more to do. Obviously that was the big cliffhanger, but she's gonna have a conversation with Bucky. She's obviously hunting Zemo, and if you don't remember why, it's the beginning of Captain America Civil War, where Zemo blows up this building in Germany. It killed King T'Chaka, and that's when T'Challa became king of Wakanda. So Zemo and that's why, if you remember in Winter Soldier, T'Challa is hunting Zemo and the Winter Soldier. He's hunting the Winter Soldier, then finds out it's Zemo at the end of that movie. So this Dora Milaje is mad that Zemo's out of prison and is tracking them, and that's what those little beads were. At first, I thought maybe that I didn't recognize the symbols or anything like that. I didn't recognize what they were. So I thought maybe Zemo was dropping these beads as he went, as like breadcrumbs or something like that. And then finally, when the music kicked in and you saw her, I recognized the actress because I've watched Black Panther numerous times. It's a great film, really one of the best ones they've ever done. I was like, oh yeah, that's the little beads that they have around their wrists that are their communicators and their weird like graphite, silicon holograms, stuff like that. So that's cool, but I still am down on this episode. It was a lot of fun, but I felt bad. I felt bad for Sharon. Like, these superheroes are kind of assholes, right? Like, Sharon lays it all out in this episode. Hey, I helped you during Winter Soldier. I helped you during Civil War. And I did all this stuff. I was still on the run. I got blipped out of existence, came back, or even during the blip, nobody remembered me. I was just the one CIA agent who helped you, much less kissed Cap. I thought Cap would have remembered her. Obviously, Cap didn't. Like, in those 5 years, Captain America, Steve Rogers, never remembered his cute blonde girlfriend, played by Emily Van Camp here, doing a great job. Never remembered her and went and rescued her or figured out a way for her to come back to the States or get her a pardon. Like, that never crossed his mind. Like, I mean, I get Falcon kind of forgetting, even though they're buds. I feel bad. I'm like, man, these guys are kind of assholes. You just use you to solve the world and save your problems, and then once that's done, you forget that these other people exist on the periphery. And like Sam goes back to his sister in Louisiana and his nephews and stuff. But at the same time, like, you forgot about Sharon. Like, what's up? Wasn't she at Tony Stark's funeral? I gotta go back and watch now, but what the hell? Just leave her out, hanging out to dry in Madripoor the whole time? God, that's really fucking terrible. These people are terrible people. And they're supposed to be our heroes. Like, that to me felt really, really bad. Like, it didn't turn me off from the show, but it makes you realize, like, oh, maybe these guys aren't so nice after all. I mean, you have them using guns and killing people that are hunting them down, these other bounty hunters and stuff like that. Sure. So they're not really, like, stand-up guys in that way either. So don't be, like, looking at, new Captain America the next episode when he's being an asshole and thinking that Falcon and Winter Soldier are that much better than him. I think they're the same. So maybe that's what this show is about bringing them down to the same level. And saying, like, look, we're really not that different from each other. Sam takes orders from the government. He takes orders from the government. And maybe if Sam will have to remember that he needs to be better in order to wear that shield, or that someone wearing that shield needs to be better than everyone else. That could be it. But it just seems like we're kind of getting lost here. This trip to Madripoor was fun. It had all this little stuff, but it really feels kind of like we're treading water a little bit. And if there's only 3 episodes left, if we're really only getting 6 of these, and this was episode 3, then we need to move a little further, a little faster, I think. Because I'm invested in the episode. I think my problem is with these episodes is that I'm invested in the episode, but there's no, like, real climax. The action scene is in the middle of the episode each time so far. And the first one, I think, opened with the one, and we still had one with Bucky, so it was a little more balanced. But the second episode had the truck fight, and then it leads to this cliffhanger of, oh, we're going to get Zemo. And then this one has the warehouse fight, or the cargo ship fight, and then it ends with them in Latvia looking for someone else, and we have the cliffhanger of the Dora Milaje showing up. So it feels like this the way that you think an arc is supposed to go narratively in a show is it's kind of shifted, right? Usually you have the action climax at the end and kind of either like a cliffhanger in the middle of it because you just came off the action climax and you're like, wow, so good. But because the action scenes in these episodes so far are in the middle of the episode, you go up there, you get to that action climax high, you come down, and then you wait a little bit a while. Like there's a lot of music, and we're going to Latvia, and we're setting this up, and there's mystery, and Bucky's searching for stuff, and then it ends, and you're like back on the rise of the next hill in terms of storytelling. And that where that ends is the way that ends. The last two episodes is really unsatisfying. That's why I think you want to end it towards the top of your action climax, right? Just after you've solved one problem and you're on the way down, you still got a little bit of action, but end it there. That's a cliffhanger, and that's why they call it a cliffhanger, because you're done. You're up here, and the episode's over. Whereas all the way over here, it's just the end of an episode, and you're like, oh man, is it over? Like I was pissed it was over, but it wasn't like, man, that was such a good episode, because I think it's too far removed from the action. So I don't know if that's like a structural thing that they're actively trying to do to make it feel a little different, but on a week-to-week basis, it sucks. If you were binging this show and you already had all 6 episodes ready to go, and you were just like, all right, next one. I think that's what I would be like. All right, let's go on the next one. Let's go on the next one. But if I gotta wait a week and I gotta think about it and I'm doing a review, I'm like, this wasn't as fun to watch, or didn't leave me as excited as the first episode, or any of the episodes of WandaVision, for that matter. Even though I know that they're entirely different shows and entirely different, themes and structures, and that was 30 minutes, and these are more like 45, or this one was 53 minutes. So they are very different. So it's not that fair to compare the two. But if you're going to be Marvel Studios presenting us a piece of Marvel every week, at least make it somewhat satisfying to watch. Don't leave me hanging. I do like cliffhangers. I do appreciate them. But do it in the action climax. Like, if you had said, if you had the warehouse fight towards the end of the episode, and the Dora Milaje was the one who showed up at the very end there, and like just kind of had a gun to somebody's head and said like, "Give me Zemo." That would have been maybe a more traditional television cliffhanger or something like that, but would have felt more satisfying because we're coming off that action climax, because our hearts are beating. But because we were like 10 minutes removed from that, it's like, all right, we'll see you next week. Just doesn't leave me like really loving the show, even though I am enjoying it. But I'm starting to realize that Sam and Bucky and Watkins, or Lamar and I forget the new Captain America's name, U.S. Agent John Walker. Lamar and John and Sam and Bucky are not that much different from each other. And I don't think you can really make the case that one is better than the other. You got a ruthless killer in Bucky, and a sort of nice guy in Sam, and you got kind of an asshole in John Walker. We haven't seen him be a ruthless killer yet, but then you got Lamar Hoskins kind of being the voice of reason. So maybe that's the duality that we're looking at here. But I really think they're kind of the same. And that is leaving a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth, because they're supposed to be making us root for Sam and Bucky, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I'm not really. So I don't know. We'll see where this goes. That's kind of how I feel about it. Again, I like the show. I'm excited to watch it every week. I'm excited to talk about it, but the act of watching it isn't as thrilling or exciting or edge of my seat the way that WandaVision was, and that's all I have to compare it to. I don't want to compare it to other things, because they're not Marvel. I can only compare it to the last Marvel show. So maybe we'll continue to do that. I think Loki's next on the slate after this show. So we'll see. That looks a little wacky and zany. Maybe it'll be a little bit more fun. I think maybe where Marvel will hit their stride is this wacky and zany stuff. If Falcon and Winter Soldier, if I end up liking WandaVision more than I do this one, this kind of spy stuff. Like I've watched all the episodes of Homeland, and that was a really good spy show. Alias was really good at cliffhangers back in the day. This show isn't following that same formula per se in terms of the way that it's structured, and I think it's maybe suffering from that. So like, if you want to make it a spy show, make it a spy show. Make it like Homeland. Make it like Alias. But again, all those shows had that cliffhanger right after the action climax. this show's not doing that. I don't know why. It's something that works. It gets you every time. Why aren't they doing that? I think this show's suffering for that. So, I don't know. Again, let me know if you think that these guys are dicks because they left Sharon out to dry. I thought that was really mood. I was like, this kind of isn't Sharon from the first two movies, or the second two movies, Winter Soldier and Civil War. But she's changed. Yes, she's changed, Brent. She's 5 years removed. She's had to fend for herself and make her own life in Madripoor and kind of live on the edge. She's off the grid. She's kind of a criminal now. So yeah, and she's bitter about it, and she deserves to be bitter and angry. So I hope she shows back up and rips him a new one. I thought she should have, ripped into him a little harder in this episode, honestly. That was really fucking rude. Anyway, sorry for the language. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. Let me know what you think down below. Thank you for subscribing, liking, and sharing, and we will see you guys next time in the Funny Pages.